Alright, so my mindset on this video was one of like a lot of speculation and questioning. There's been a ton of questions that have been asked repetitively by the community and by my fans, by everybody for so long about the topic of this video, and that is going to be Blackbeard and unanswered questions that I expect to have after Wano. There's so many different things that get brought up about Marshall D. Teach, whether he's going to get a third devil fruit, if he already has a third devil fruit, what his plans are, what his true ambitions are. There are so many things to talk about. But before we get into the video, of course, guys, make sure that you leave that like, man. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want more One Piece content like this, make sure you subscribe and you turn on those post notifications. Let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about specifically is Blackbeard prior to Wano. Well, I guess it was actually while Wano was going on technically, but it was when the newspapers came out. Big Hands Morgan's, you know what I'm saying, the GOAT. Nah, but Big News had put the newspapers out and he was talking about what was going on at the Reverie. He was also talking about the warlord system getting abolished. Blackbeard seen the newspaper and he was like, oh, okay, so this is what's going on. And if that's the case and the Marines aren't going to go after it, then we will. And he tells his crew to pack things up. Now, this has to be something big, right? Because for Blackbeard to pack up his entire crew, it's got to be something spectacular. We've seen his crew in different places, but sometimes Blackbeard isn't with him. Like we've seen Burgess and Dressrosa. We've seen some of his crew pull up, you know, to the revolutionaries, but Blackbeard isn't always there. So for Blackbeard to go specifically and take his crew with him, it has to be something important. There's a couple things that we could talk about here. Now, the thing that I've seen most often is that Blackbeard is going after something regarding an ancient weapon. Now, because of that, a lot of people seem to think he's going to Alabasta. They're in like ruin right now. Their kingdom is kind of falling apart. So this is the perfect time for Blackbeard to take his crew and swoop in on Alabasta and get some information with, you know, that poneglyph that's there on this ancient weapon. Now, I'm all for that. I'm all for Blackbeard going after an ancient weapon, but I feel like that's just too obvious. Now, sometimes the obvious answer is just the answer though, right? Like when Shanks went to the Gorse and he was talking about a pirate and we all were like, oh, it's Blackbeard. And everyone's like, oh, that's too obvious. Sometimes the obvious answer is probably just the choice. But why is this so important that he would have to take his entire crew? Especially if it's Alabasta. There's no strong fighters there. They're on the brink of ruin already. Their kingdom's falling apart. Why would he have to pack up the whole crew just to go there and get information about a poneglyph? That just doesn't seem like the choice to me. It just doesn't make sense. He also said if the Marines aren't going to go, then I will. So I'm thinking, what could the Marines be going to, or why would Blackbeard even mention them in the first place? And I just don't see them going to Alabasta, because in Alabasta there's a poneglyph, right? Cool, it's got information about, you know, a ancient weapon, you know, allegedly, right? But even if the Marines went to this poneglyph, how would they even read it? They don't have anybody to read the poneglyph. So what is the point of them going there to get it? But because of that, I think this whole Alabasta theory is kind of like not the right choice, you know? The next thing was Whole Cake Island. Now, a lot of people said, oh, he's going to go to Whole Cake Island. He's going to get the road poneglyph from Big Mom. Now, this one makes a little bit more sense with his crew involved, because even though there's no Yonko there to defend it, you know, Katakuri's still there. There's some of the Big Mom pirates still there, Cracker, etc. So there are people there that, you know, are adversaries that Blackbeard would have to actually like prepare for. But I don't think he needs his entire crew to go do that. Also, I don't think, once again, the Marines would go here in the first place to get a poneglyph they can't read. I guess the Marines could go collect poneglyphs so other people can't get them, but like, I just don't see that happening. I don't know, has that happened in the story so far at all? Like, I just don't see that. To me, the poneglyph situation isn't the answer, because although yes, Blackbeard's going to need those eventually, he can't read them right now. They can't read them. So it has to be somewhere the Marines might have went to. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought them up in the first place. So that leaves another choice that we have. What about Wano? We do know that Kizaru and Akainu were speaking to each other, and Kizaru said, do you need me to go there? And Akainu was like, no, we don't have the men right now. So we know the Marines aren't, you know, going to Wano, but how would Blackbeard know that? But how would he know that they aren't going there? That's the only thing that I'm missing here. I do believe that Blackbeard going to Wano would have been cool. I was all for it probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago when I first like got into Wano. I was like, yo, if Blackbeard comes to Wano, it's gonna be crazy. He'll smoke Kaido, take his devil fruit. Like I had this big grandiose idea in my head about him coming to Wano, but once again, I think at this point it's like it's a little bit too late, right? Like I don't know if Blackbeard coming can happen at this point. I guess it could happen because he did come at the last minute at Marineford, but it's just like I'm not sure. I think the biggest problem with Blackbeard showing up to the Wano, at the end, honestly, besides the fact that the time frame seems off, is the fact that it would be repetitive, or it would seem like the end of Marineford. Now, I'm all for reinventing themes and reintroducing things that have happened in your series before, but to make it like a complete carbon copy of something we've already seen, I don't feel like it's appealing to people. For me, it's all about execution though. Like, if it's up to me, I wouldn't be mad if Oda wanted to do that, because I know Oda would execute it in a way that I would enjoy. Now, I mean, some people, have their criticisms of Oda's writing and his story. That's, their prerogative. But for me personally, when Oda does things, as long as he executes it well, I wouldn't really mind if it was like something that happened before or something he's kind of like reintroducing into the story. I guess one of the real reasons people thought Blackbeard may come to Wano in the first place is because they don't know how Kaido's going to die. Luffy doesn't kill people. He hasn't killed people. He will not do unnecessary killing. And Oda has also been on record saying that the reason why he doesn't have Luffy kill people is because he likes to have Luffy steal their dreams away. And Kaido's dream is to die in like infamy and like in this big glorious battle. So for Luffy to kill him in a big glorious battle would just be giving Kaido what he wanted in the first place. And I think that's the whole issue with Luffy killing him in Wano, and the reason why people wanted to find an outside person to come and, pretty much handle Kaido. For me, it being Blackbeard made a lot of sense at the time, like I said before, but now looking at it, I'm just like, okay, I see the criticisms with the whole, oh, this is Marineford 2.0. I see the criticisms with the time frame. So I'm going to say that this isn't happening. I honestly feel like what Blackbeard could be doing right now is going towards Shanks. I think whatever it is, him and Shanks are bound to clash at this point. Now, I am one to think that Blackbeard is going to be the one to kill Shanks. Some people don't think Shanks is dying at all. Some people don't want him to die, which is understandable. He's a really cool character to a lot of people. However, he's got one arm in the grave, man. One arm in the grave. He's got a scar on his face that he put on his Jolly Roger, for God's sake, bro. Like, how does somebody scar you like that and then you put it on your flag, like you wearing the scar? Like, that's just crazy to think about. But Blackbeard being the person to take out Shanks, I feel like it's just poetic, bro. It's good writing. I think this whole time the story has been built around him and Shanks, and there's somewhat weird dynamic and rivalry. Like, every time Shanks is on a cover page, you see Blackbeard there too. Anytime Shanks is in a chapter, not every single time, but like 90% of the time, it involves Blackbeard. Like, they have been set up since the beginning of the story, bro. Since he went to Whitebeard's ship and they had that conversation, I have been on the Shanks is dying to Blackbeard train, bro. I honestly feel like whatever the Marines weren't going after, Blackbeard will go after. That's the only thing I'm missing. I really don't have an idea, because it could be an ancient weapon, but again, I don't know how he would just know about an ancient weapon unless he read a poneglyph, and he can't. So I'm just like, okay, how would he know that? But I am certain that when no one else is paying attention to Blackbeard and what he's doing, Shanks will be. And I feel like he went to the Gorsei for help. They probably told him no. So now he's on his own. He's going to have to encounter Blackbeard on his own. The only thing against this is some people want Shanks and Luffy to talk before he dies, and I am in that same boat. So if Blackbeard and Shanks do clash, wherever it is, it's not going to be the last time. This is probably going to be like maybe a payback war situation where either Shanks, is victorious or Blackbeard's victorious, whatever. They part ways before anyone, dies, there's any casualties, and this will be something that is followed up on later in the story. But I think we're going to get some sort of news article or like information that Blackbeard and Shanks clashed during this whole Wano situation. But guys and gals, I want to know what you think about Blackbeard. What do you think he's been doing this entire time? Make sure you comment down below and let me know. Also, in my pinned comment is my Twitter link and my Discord link. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. And as always, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during these trying times. This has been Synsei Inc., and I will see you all in the next video.